I'll be taking 11 fights this war. First up is this Mephisto on node 6. There isn't really anything special about him, so I'll take this time to go over my mastery setup. I'm running half recoil for the poison debuff so that Kitty gains free healing from willpower for all her fights. It'll also make Diablo a lot stronger for his fight. And on top of that I will have max Mystic Dispersion, but more on that when we get to it. This Mephisto really is just a very easy kitty fight. She won't take any shock damage while she's phasing, she's incinerate immune, and all those aura of incinerations will just give her more damage on her specials. This SP2 really is just more than enough to finish the fight. Next up is this Killmonger on node 15. The plan is to just stack up the prowess, keep the phasing up so you won't take damage, and that's as simple as it gets. Killmonger's extra critical resistance is really making it more difficult to gain prowess. So I'm trying to go for intercepts and land some parries to build them up that way. You may also be wondering why I never really go for the so-called kitty cycle when I play her. And that's simply because I'm not a scrub. It really isn't safe to do. The AI can't just decide not to throw a special, and then what are you gonna do when the phase ends? Here I went for the SP3 to speed up the fight a bit. Didn't kill him, but then I'll just let him hit my face and fall over. And next up is node 20 Man-Thing, which is probably the most common placement you can find on the map. I'm gonna be taking the Diablo using his Nullify pre-fight. Here I'm just making sure that the pre-fight is actually on, as you always should do. I'm gonna be using an advanced power boost here to make the fight a little bit faster, easier and safer. The plan is to get to my SP3 without spending all my hit counter charges. I'm gonna be taking advantage of MD5 by baiting Man-Thing's heavy to trigger the unstoppable buff, as well as triggering masochism for the regen buff. Before you go for the SP3, it's very important to make sure you have triggered masochism beforehand. Otherwise your poison debuffs will all get shrugged off. Now I just need to keep the poisons up by refreshing them with my SP2. And again, it's very important to trigger masochism before you refresh them. Otherwise, every single one of your poisons will get shrugged off when you throw that SP2. You can also choose to use the SP1 to pause the debuffs instead, but I chose to go for the SP2 for more damage. And there we go, a simple and easy Diablo fight as long as you pay attention. Next up is this Mordo on Mixmaster. I will have the White Magneto pre-fight here to bypass Astral Evade, as well as to gain prowess faster. The game plan is very simple. I'm just gonna go for medium light combos to keep my face up and play the Mixmaster node. I will keep doing it even when he has a bar of power, so that instead of having to dex his SP1, I can just phase through it. And that's the whole fight. All there is to it. It's very easy, very simple to do. Tigra synergy will get you your openings. There's absolutely nothing to worry about, and you should never see anyone die to this node with Kitty. I could go for the SP3 here to finish the fight, but you know, if it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. Doing what I do will get the fight done, and that's all that matters. Another fight, another full yellow bar. Next up is Misty Knight on the Footloose node, which I have never taken before, but I'm sure that Kitty will be just fine for it. The plan is simple. Build up prowess, keep facing, bait SP1s, wait out the buffs, and go for the SP2 to finish it off. And that's the fight. Next I'm taking this path 5 in section 2, ebb and flow intercept nodes. These are both very easy and fast kitty fights. There's really nothing for me to explain here. I choose to block her SP1 here for the most part, instead of trying to dex or phase it, just to limit any chances of me getting hit. Any cheap damage that she might take, she will regen back from the willpower anyways. Here the Tigra synergy comes in very handy for Kitty to ignore OSC's autoblock completely. However, you don't need it to take this fight, since Kitty is immune to stun while phasing. You can just completely ignore it anyways. Next up is this Sersi on node 39 with Tigra. Should be a quick and easy fight, 1 SP2 and she'll be dead. In and out, just like that. So the game plan is to land a parry and then hit her to trigger the neutralize, then bait her heavy so that she doesn't gain the glancing buff. After that you can just raise to SP2 and finish the fight. Okay, and plan A failed. Time for plan B, improvise. Now I'll just need to wait out her glancing buff and make sure that I can keep my senses up. I ended up pushing myself back to an SP3, which is not what I wanted to do. This is just wasting time at this point. And to top it off, I managed to screw up my SP2 so it does close to nothing. Here I finally gained control of the fight again, so I can finally get out of here. So yeah, I somehow managed to make a 20-second fight into a 1.5-minute fight. Then we have this King Groot on the Safeguard miniboss node. Quick and easy Tigra fight. Should be around 1 SP2 and he'll be dead. Neutralize shuts off the regen, so that's not a problem either. I should have just thrown my SP1 there, but instead I decided to get clapped again. For no reason, which costs me a potion. And for my last mini-boss fight is this Chavez on Brute Force mini-boss node. I have taken this fight with Kitty before and it has gone very well. However, this time I kinda screwed it up. I have the White Max pre-fight here to help me build up my prowess faster, as well as to ignore the Limber node. Other than that, the plan is to just avoid dexing, and that's pretty much it. The fight gets a little out of hand here. I lose my prowess so I can't phase, but I'm not too worried. I know what I have to do to finish out this fight, and I know that I can do it. Still not gonna go for the kitty cycle though. I throw the SP3 here to just finish out the fight, and that's America down. Not the cleanest fight, but she works. Last but not least, we have this thing boss with Tigra, which I have taken many times before. I also went ahead and removed my recoil masteries so that I wouldn't be digging down from the poison throughout the whole fight. I'm sure most of you have seen me take this fight multiple times in the past, but I've never actually explained in detail what I'm doing. So, Tigra's Neutralize prevents Thing from triggering his unstoppable buff. However, if you leave him at 15 stacks and Neutralize falls off, your next hit will trigger the unstoppable, and you will get hit. That's why it's very important to keep an eye on his stacks at all times. Never leave him at 15 stacks at the end of your combo or a special attack. You will also want to chain your specials after the second hit of your heavy attack, or this can happen to you. Thing just dexed out of the first 2 hits of my SP2. You also may have noticed that I'm not taking that much block damage with Tigra. That's because I have the Inequity Mastery maxed out, which lowers the opponent's attack for each debuff that you have on them. And with Tigra that's a lot. I think that should be all that's worth mentioning about this fight, so I'll just let it play out. And that's how you take a thing boss with Tigra. So in the end I ended up taking 7 fights today. Had to use a few potions, but it's whatever. Unfortunately we lost this 75.